Okay, I think we can get started. I hope all the participants are situated in. But once again, thank you everyone for joining us today for our webinar. I'm Ivy from the MoeGo team, and I'm super excited to welcome you to today's webinar, Why Software is Important for the Solo Groomer. And I'm also here with Melinda. So she's also here to co-host and moderate with me. She's been at MoeGo for 3 years now, and she has her own grooming and retail business in Indiana called Bark and Bones. So, before we start, this webinar is going to be recorded. It will be uploaded to our YouTube channel at MoeGo. So, if you need to leave during the webinar, you can always watch the full recap on our YouTube channel, or feel free to share that video with your team members as well. And then we recently started our podcast channel. This will also be added there, and you can find us at MoeGo Podcasts on Spotify and Apple. And you can listen to this webinar on the go. So we'll be having a Q&A portion at the end, but feel free to drop in your questions anytime in the chat. We'll try to answer them as we go along. So I'm going to kick it off now to Melinda to introduce our guest.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ivy. Thank you for the introduction. Everyone, I'm Melinda. I own Bark and Bone, and I've also been at MoeGo for almost 3 years, not quite. Ashley is a really good friend of mine, owner of the Dog House DeLand. Ashley, share a little bit about yourself. Tell us about your pet journey, and then we'll get this rolling.
Okay, I started as a bather at 14 and I would skip school and do the whole bathing thing. So I did that for 4 years and then I went to grooming school at 18 and right from grooming school, I got my master's certification and I became the youngest person in the country to become a nationally certified master groomer. And I have been grooming for 11 years since, and I now compete all over the world. I'm an internationally award-winning competitive groomer and I teach seminars and stuff like that as well.
That's so cool, Ashley. So we're so happy and lucky to have you today. Let's start from the beginning. So, what made you realize you wanted to kind of get into the pet care industry? Why did you start like bathing at 14? And then maybe as you continue on your journey, how did you knew you wanted to go out on your own instead of working at someone else's salon?
My parents owned a generator business, and I knew I wanted to work with animals. And we had a bunch of mobile groomers coming in all the time that were like, hey, if she's ever interested, ride along with me. And it was always something as a kid that I thought was kind of lame. Didn't know any better. And so I decided to ride along with one day, and I thought that it was the most exciting, wonderful thing, and I could make animals look pretty and happy rather than being a vet and having to worry about putting animals down or dealing with, the blood and injuries and stuff like that. So I just knew that being a groomer was something that I would want to do, and I've kind of just been doing it since. And yeah, and I knew I wanted to open up my own business because my parents were always business owners and I worked for people and it just kind of wasn't what I thought was best for me. I knew that I could be a good business owner from being raised with a business background with my parents. So I knew I wanted to take the leap as soon as possible. And I did. I opened up my first business at 23 years old.
Wow, was there a specific moment or anything that you're like, I'm ready for this? Like, when did you knew that you're ready to like open that salon?
So honestly, I really was not ready. I thought I was going to be, but I wasn't. I was working for a woman and she was super great. I loved working there. I was there a couple years and she came one day, it was right after COVID hit, and she said, I'm going to be moving, so the business is closing down in 2 weeks. So unfortunately, I asked around and no one was hiring at that point because all the businesses were shut down and people just weren't getting dogs like they used to because it was COVID. So no one was wanting to, leave their homes. So I said, all right, well, I don't have much of a choice. I'm just going to buy her business and make it my own. So that's what I did. So I had 2 weeks to start fresh and rebrand a whole business and try to retain some of those clients and make some of my own. And so in 2 weeks, I just made the decision to become a business owner.
Wow, that's a fast turnaround.
hmm Yeah, it was not easy. I don't recommend trying to do it that quick. Definitely put a little got into it. But I didn't have much of a choice, and at least I had a family that was super supportive, and they were like, okay, we'll help you with whatever, but this is probably what's going to be best for you right now. So, but it worked out, and I've been a business owner since.
That's amazing. I want to hear more about, you got it in 2 weeks, or you decided on that decision in 2 weeks. How did you, I guess, get your business rolling?
It was very difficult because everything was closed down. I couldn't go to get like a business license or anything like that. Just the waits to get in anywhere was crazy. So, I mean, the first step was kind of like redoing the whole shop, getting more equipment and whatnot. And then I just had people that were there helping me, and I had to reach out to all the prior customers and be like, hey, just so you know, I am still going to be open. Just because she's leaving doesn't mean that I'm still not going to be around. So I just kind of started grooming dogs from people's homes for a little bit, just so people knew that I was still still good. You can still trust me with your animals. And then I slowly brought him into the shop and just kind of did it that way. But it was a very difficult, long process, but it ended up working. So that's all that matters.
Very true. For anyone on this webinar that's thinking about starting their own business and going solo, what's one thing you wish you knew before you started your business?
So honestly, one of the biggest mistakes I made was I asked too many people for advice on what they think I should do. And honestly, a lot of the advice that I took, I would probably never ever use or do. And it just confused me so much. So honestly, I know myself better than anyone. I know what I think would be the best for my business. So my advice is, you need to do what you think is going to be best for your business and for, your mental health and stuff like that as well. So you need to focus on you and try to take what other people say to you with a grain of salt and just focus on you. Try not to listen to too many people at once, because it can really confuse you and make you second guess everything that you're doing. So just focus on you, you're your priority, and just listen to yourself.
Yeah, I've heard that advice actually a good amount of times amongst like other entrepreneurs because
Hmm.
maybe you have that passion, but when you ask someone else who might not have a similar entrepreneur mindset, they would, voice
Hmm.
their fears and then they'll give you doubts.
Yeah.
But you know yourself. Yeah. You said there was an advice that you regretted taking. Can you expand on maybe what that advice was?
So everyone does grooming a little bit different, and I mean, this is a really good example. So my family is very like anti-technology. And so when I first started my business, everything I did was pen and paper because that's all I have ever known. And it made everything I did very complicated and take forever. So if I would have like started off with a software company, it would have made my hours at home so much easier. It would have like just helped me in the business so much more. And I think by doing the whole pen and paper thing and being like anti-technology, my business would have gone a lot smoother in the beginning. So that was a big learning error, but we're here. So, yeah.
I want to kind of touch on that a little bit because Ashley has a really great point of it's good to listen to as many other entrepreneurs and business owners out there, but in the end, everyone has a different business model. And I think it's really important to not try to replicate someone's existing business model. But I do
Mhm.
think that there is significant value from learning about other people's mistakes in their entrepreneurship journey. Ashley just said a loud one that she should say 5 more times on this webinar is that she did not start off with technology or software.
Mhm.
And this is something that, I bought a business. It was pre-existing. The very first thing I did within the first 30 days was invest in a new software. And it's
Mhm.
so important to get started on the right foot, or else,
It's
Ashley, let's
chaos.
go into it. What were some of the challenges you had? Like, let's talk about this. Like, what were these challenges from that mistake?
So, well, there's quite a few actually. So one of the biggest things was, and the business that I got as well, she also was very pen and paper. So we had the clip cards where we wrote everything down, and the schedule and everything was always handwritten. So one of the biggest things that I struggled with the most was like the on schedule groomers. So, for example, if they book out the whole year, if you accidentally forget to book one month, God forbid, you overbook yourself that day and then you look stupid when the owners come in, you risk losing that client. So, there were a couple times where obviously I'm human. I did forget to put in my reoccurring clients, and it made my whole day. And at the time I had employees, so it made their whole day chaos. I've lost clients doing that. There's times where you're on the phone and I was in the middle of grooming, so I wasn't able to go over and write something down, and I thought I'd remember it and I did not remember it. So there was just a lot of scheduling issues with the whole pen and paper thing that could have been avoided, but I'm human. It didn't. So, yeah, I mean, and there's obviously many more, but those are a couple of the main ones. And then obviously, I was super busy, and you don't always have time to write your clip cards. So, when people come in, you forget what you did and you accidentally shaved a dog that was never supposed to be shaved. And so, we're all human. It happens.
I think we've all done that, and then
Yeah.
it happens. I mean,
Yeah.
we're just human, right? We can only do so much.
Right. Yeah.
Um, so how long, I'm very curious, how long of this paper clips, potentially losing clients? You said something that blew my mind. Juggling a phone while grooming a dog, I would die.
I
How long did you suffer through this until you said, you know what, I've had enough. I need
um
I need a solution.
so it was 2 years that I did that, and it wasn't even me. So my fiance, well, boyfriend at the time, he came in and he saw me trying to juggle doing like the bookkeeping and all this stuff myself. And I would come home and super stressed because I was dealing with, all the work stuff that I didn't have time to do back at the shop. And he was like, "You can't keep doing this to yourself. This isn't okay. It's not healthy." He saw that I was going crazy. And I said, "Look, I don't trust technology. I grew up without it. We're not technology people." And he said, "Well, you need to suck it up." And he said, "What we'll do is we'll try it for a month or two. If you don't like it, we'll cancel and you can go back to your pen and paper." So it took 2 years for him to finally convince me to do it. And even after I did it, I was still so nervous for 6 months. I still did my pen and paper thing on the side and made double work for myself until I realized that the pen and paper needed to go, and I kind of just 100% did the whole technology thing. But it took time. It was very weird. It was very hard, but now we're here, and I can't believe I wasted 2 years doing it.
So, with that being said, now you're here. I want to hear this. I've heard a lot of stories about your journey. I've heard about your family. Like, why did you go with MoeGo? Because we all know that there's so many options out there. And, I stand by that there is no bad option. But
Mhm.
why did you go with MoeGo? Like, what stood out for you?
So honestly, I didn't know much about any of the other companies. And again, this sounds terrible. Um, Boyfriend at the time, he did most of the research for me. And because I did not grow up with a lot of technology, I needed something to be as easy and as simple as possible. So he did all the research and he was like, "Ashley, we're going to try a couple of the demos on three of these." I think it was this one, 123 Pet, and then ooh, I honestly don't remember the third one. So we did the demos online and we saw that MoeGo was just the absolute easiest. And I said, if I'm going to do anything technology based, I needed it to be as simple as possible because I was already too scared of converting to technology. So if you gave me something super complex and super crazy, there was no way that I was going to be set up for success. So yeah, we did the demo and it was just so easy that I was like, okay, fine, we'll do this one because the other ones were just a little bit more complicated and I just wasn't for me. So I think MoeGo is very user friendly. It's very simple, easy to read, easy to understand. So that's kind of why we decided to go towards the MoeGo route.
So, something I would like for you to talk about a lot on here as well is I meet many solo groomers who are pen and paper or use their Google
Mhm.
Calendar, and making that jump, that change from, your Google Calendar and your index cards to a technology, an app. They're always so scared. And it sounds like you
Yeah,
were scared too. Like
yeah, I
let's
didn't want
let's
to.
talk about let's talk about that timeline and that transition. Like what went smooth? How did your customers react? Like, what, tell us about the phase of the, oh crap, I'm doing this, to, oh, thank goodness I did this. What was that journey like?
So again, it was kind of complicated in the beginning. Like I said, I was so scared that I still kept my pen and paper for a couple months because I didn't know if, the software was going to work for me or what happens if something failed software wise or whatever. I don't know. There were so many what ifs. So I think the hardest part was trying to convert all of my clients' information into the software. So that was the first thing I did before I even touched anything software wise. I sat there for 2 weeks at home and I just inputted all my clip cards, all my customers' information, all my everything into the software. So that way, if it came to a point, I could just get rid of the clip cards and stuff like that. So that was the first step, was just trying to get all the information over, which took forever, but it is what it is. And then honestly, my clients were very receptive to it. They honestly thought it made me look more professional in a sense, rather than trying to do the whole pen and paper thing. They were like, "Oh, you're moving on up in the world. Like, that looks good. That looks really professional." So they kind of liked it. It took me a little bit with the first few weeks trying to get used to the software, but once you got used to it, it was actually much quicker than having to try to flip through, a million different pages in a calendar or all the clip cards and stuff like that, because all their information and the schedule was right there just by pushing a button. So they were very receptive to it and they were very kind with my change. I thought they were going to be frustrated, but no, it was great. So, I mean, I don't know. It was really good. And now I still use it to this day. After the 6.5, or I'm sorry, the couple months that I was still using my pen and paper, I threw it away and I never looked back. I
Yay!
haven't had any
That's so
issues.
good.
Yeah, I haven't had any issues with the software. And honestly, so my last business, I sold that one. So I moved to the literal boonies. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I was scared about the software because when I sold my business, I transferred my MoeGo over to them. And so when I got this business, we actually built a grooming shop on my property. So I was scared, okay, what if I don't have enough internet out here? What if I don't have enough service out here for me to like use my software? So that was my biggest concern. So at first I wasn't going to use a software and I tried it for 2 days without it. And I said, okay, you're crazy. You need to just go ahead and get the software back. Because it just made my life so much easier. So I haven't had any issues with service. And I mean, I have to use Starlink out here. We really didn't have any other, internet options out here. So even with as little internet as we have out here, no issues. If you do, it still runs off your phone. So like your 4G, 5G, whatever. So, I mean, I haven't run into any issues with it yet. So, I mean, that was always my biggest concern as far as moving from the pen and paper to the technology. But honestly, Still no issues, and we're going on 6 years of using MoeGo. So I still like it. I'm still gonna keep using it.
So another you go to a lot of these trade shows with me.
Mhm.
I mean, we've traveled coast to coast together now at this point.
Yeah.
Um, one of the biggest concerns or blockers I hear for solo groomers is they say like, and it's a valid concern, is oh, like it's expensive. It's an expense. This is challenging, for me to understand because I have a much different business model than a solo groomer. So can you talk about a little bit about why it is so important for you to invest in technology? And like, I guess let's talk about the revenue return you get. Just we
Right.
can break it down per month because is it worth it per month for you? Like, does it help boost your revenue, retain clients, that sort of thing?
Yeah, so one of the things that I like the most about MoeGo first, before I get into that, is that with the pen and paper, I still had to make my calls and texts and everything every day to remind people to come in. So with MoeGo, they were sending out all my daily reminders. And because I'm now I'm one-on-one, so everything was very big on like, if you don't show up, that messes with my money for the day. So since I switched to technology, and I mean, I'll just say MoeGo, since I switched to MoeGo, you can choose if you want your reminders to go out, what is it? I believe 24 hours, 48 hours, something like that. So if you have special rules that are like, hey, if you don't come in or if you don't give me 24 hours notice before cancellation, I'm going to charge you for it. So what's good about that is that they have to physically respond saying yes or no that they're coming in. So once I switched over, I realized that I had a lot less like people coming in. So a lot less no-shows, a lot less people that were coming in late because it was there, it was sent to them. So, I mean, it was super great in that sense. And so, price-wise, I mean, it's I have the starter package. I honestly don't have any crazy package. But what's good about the starter package, it's $79 a month, something like that. That's almost the price of a whole dog. So if you do one extra dog a month plus their tip, that pays for your technology and your sanity.
Say
Honestly.
that 5 more times. Scream it from the roof.
Um,
That's
so
how I feel. Say it louder. Say it again.
yeah. So, and then what I used to do as well, and I mean, I still kind of do it. I save all my tips. I never put my tips into like my paycheck, if that makes sense. So my tips are its own thing. So when I first got the software, I was also super nervous about it. I said, do I really want to pay $80 a month for this? So what I did was I would take my tips rather than money from my actual paycheck. So then it felt like my clients were actually paying for the software for me rather than me paying it for myself. So it just kind of made me feel a little bit
Or
better. So my tips kind of pay for my software. So, I mean, it pays for my sanity. I have to do so much less at the end of the day and even the beginning of the day as a solo groomer because I have to do all my bookkeeping. I have to do all the scheduling, all the reminders, all the everything. So, MoeGo does all that. So now when I come home, I say come home, I walk across my lawn. Now, when I get inside, I actually have time to relax and enjoy dinner and go out. I don't have to sit there and then for an hour go through and have to do scheduling and reminder calls and whatever. So, I mean, $80, it sounds like a lot when you say it out loud, but then when you think about how much time you're saving, I mean, if you have kids, I don't have kids, but that's like one extra basketball game you can go to. That's one extra like movie you can take them to. That's just that much more time you can spend with your family or your friends or whatever. So I mean, $80 in the grand scheme of thing a month, it's an extra dog. So I mean, or your tips. So it's worth your
Well,
savings.
I wanna touch on something you said because it's how I feel, is that as business owners, actually, the most valuable asset that's difficult for us to replicate is our time. So
Hmm.
like your time cannot, Evan can't be Ashley,
Right.
Ivy can't be Melinda at my business. It's our time. And
Hmm.
so you kind of said it, you're saving approximately at minimum an hour a day by having MoeGo. That's
Hmm.
5 hours a week. That's 20 hours a month. You
Hmm.
cannot buy 20 hours a month for $80. Like that's you
Right.
that right there. It's by using technology, no matter how small or how large you are,
Hmm.
you're getting your time back to where you can work on your business, not always in it, sitting there. And another thing that I love that you mentioned is you walk across your yard. I'm so glad to hear you walk across your yard, because it builds a work-life balance, which is natural boundaries, which is something that I see solo groomers do all the time of, look, I have 30 unanswered voicemails from clients and I have this. And I'm like, on your
Mhm.
personal phone? No, like
Right.
get MoeGo. And you get
Right.
MoeGo because then when you're on vacation or when you're after hours, you mute those notifications and you can return to it during normal working hours. And
Yep.
so for me, I'm going to say myself, even though I'm a little bit larger and I have employees, the work-life balance, it's
Hmm.
so important. And the technology helps build those boundaries for groomers such
Hmm.
as yourself.
Yes, it
So,
does. And like just like you, we have to travel a lot to these grooming shows because I do work with other companies. So I mean, when I was traveling, or even if I just go on vacation or to see my family for a long weekend or something like that, it doesn't matter. It was always so hard for me to take my schedule and my pen, and then I would always have to take my clip cards too. And the reason is because I am super bad with names. I mean, everyone and their mom names their dog Bella or Charlie or whatever. So, I mean, I can't remember every Bella I have. I know that one is a seven blade, one is a super long doodle that's a drop coat that's always pelted, one wants to rip my face off. So I could never keep them all straight. So I would always have to carry all this stuff. And I mean, when you're going on vacation or to visit family, you don't want to have to do that. So, I mean, when I went out of town or when I go out of town now, I just have my phone. And if I see that someone has messaged, I can just go in real quick and everything is right there on your phone. Or I use my tablet at work sometimes. So it's on one of them. So, I mean, you always have all your information there with you. Then there's no mistaking who's who or anything. So it just makes it so much more convenient. And yeah, like you said, I mean, I can mute the notifications. So mine are muted almost 100% of the time, which sounds terrible. But when I am free and I'm not working on a dog and it's in business hours, I will go and I'll check on things. But
I want everyone to know that as we are on this webinar, I have answered a MoeGo message for a new client. So it's one of the things that but you don't have to. I'm just extra crazy and I'm locked in right
right.
now. But like it's I love to tell people you need to have that division. You should never use your personal phone number for business ever. Like
No, no.
you can't. And so by having the technology, you're able to protect your privacy, protect your time, and have those boundaries. Because
Right.
something else that Ashley's talking about, we're talking about technology here, but something she's mentioned at the beginning and just now is taking care of your mental health as a solo groomer is extremely important. And we all know that in this industry, burnout is easy because we're all people pleasers. None of us are people. We're all pet people, hence why we groom dogs.
Right.
So making sure you have those boundaries to protect yourself, to
Hmm.
prevent burnout is so important. So
Hmm.
I'm loving all of this. It's such a fun insight for me because it's a little bit different
Hmm.
for me. And so it's really, really helpful. Would you say, I'm going to challenge because I know you've always used MoeGo for like 6 years
Right.
now.
Right.
So I want you to just try and vision. Would you say that your revenue did go up though, or at least like were you able to achieve growth with technology in your
No,
business?
I absolutely was. And like I was saying before, when you make your reminder calls or your texts, people aren't always responding or calling or answering your calls or listening to their voicemails, whatever. But whenever they saw the message from MoeGo come through, I was getting all the responses, yes, no, whatever. So, I mean, I honestly saw such a drastic, and even my old employees, when I had my old shop with employees, they all noticed that I had so many less no-shows because I had this telling them, and they were able to respond saying, like, yes, we're coming, we're not coming, whatever. And I did realize most of what I was doing was over the phone, like calls. So on in my solo business, I honestly do almost everything 100% through text message, which sounds kind of crazy to some people, but I realize that it's easier for people to keep track of when we said that their appointments were going to be, etc. So I think a big hurdle that I jumped was I was trying to do everything through phone calls, but not everyone listens to their voicemails. Or if you get flagged as spam or they don't have your phone number saved in their phone, whatever, they're not going to answer it. They're not going to listen to the voicemail. So it was very easy for people not to remember their appointments or hear the reminder. So with the text, it's there, it pops up right on their phone. So I had so many less no shows. So I mean, it made a huge difference. And I mean, to this day, I think so. I've had this business for 2.5 years. I think I can count on two hands how many no-shows I've had in 2.5 years. So, I mean, it's definitely made a difference, and that's always money in my pocket. So, it's
One
definitely very helpful.
I have one more question and then I want to pass it back to Ivy to take over.
Mhm.
But you just mentioned that your business is ran primarily on text messaging. And this
Mhm.
is another big concern I hear from solo groomers is, oh, a
Mhm.
text, I'm going to lose the personal touch and I'm going to lose the connection and the
Uh-huh.
emotion. Like, how did you overcome that? And do you feel that your customers were able to, like, do they enjoy it? Like, is the texting better for business?
So most of my clients, they know me. I'm a very bubbly person. I laugh a lot. I smile a lot. So over the phone, I feel like you can't always hear a tone, but through the messages, and I mean, some people will disagree and some people will argue. Me, I do use emojis with my clients, and that's just because I want them to know that even though they can't see me, I am smiling or whatever. So that's not for everyone. Some people think it's unprofessional to put emojis in text messages, but for me and my clients, they love it. They respond with emojis. They do think it makes me easier to talk to. And some people, like, I don't like to answer my phone. I don't like to talk on the phone. If I can avoid it, I'm going to avoid it. So, and I feel like most people are like that now. So it's just, if they can avoid a call, they're going to avoid a call. So, I think they enjoy the text messages, just because, again, like a little happy face can make someone's day a little bit better than talking on a phone and not being able to see people. So that's just how I feel. But again, some people might disagree because they think emojis are unprofessional, but I love them when I'm talking to my clients. I do think it's more personal.
We use emojis. I love my emojis. And I think we had like a total of like 10 call only clients and we're down to
Uh-huh.
like two.
Yeah, it
So
makes such a difference. I mean, I just like it because I do have like a cancellation policy or a no-show policy. So if you don't show up within 24 hours, you're going to get charged for the appointment. So if anyone ever tries to fight me and they're like, "Oh, well, you said," then I just scroll up and I'm like, I said the appointment right here." So then they can't fight you on it. Whether on the phone, there's no proof. You know what I mean? So I always kind of liked having like a written track of everything just so we were all on the same page. So I just think the text messages are so much nicer, and I think I have two call only clients, but every once in a while they'll text me, so we're getting there.
I got one of ours sent us actually called us to let us know that they finally got a smartphone that we could take them off the call only list and start texting them. We were so ecstatic. We were like, yeah.
Well, so and originally when I first got MoeGo, I had Evan put it to where everyone was getting the call reminders, not the text reminders. And the call reminders were honestly kind of creepy to me because I made him call me first, and I'm like, ooh, that to me didn't feel as personable as it did like a message. So that's why I kind of switched to the text messages because the calls were just wasn't the same. So I just after switching to the messages, like I said, it made everything so much nicer, much more of a breeze. So it's just for me it was the better option.
I'm such an emoji girl, so I feel this. And I also do the social media posts for MoeGo, so you're gonna see emojis there too. I think it definitely adds a lot of personality. And
It
same thing
does.
back to your original point, Ashley, where, run your business the way you want to run it. If you feel like
Mhm.
emojis helps with your relationship with your clients, like keep on doing it.
Yeah.
Hey, emojis are great. I love emojis. Plus, if anyone has an iPhone, you know you can now create custom emojis.
Oh, I've seen some
Did
scary
not.
custom emojis.
It's so fun. I love my emojis.
Yeah.
Ivy, I'll
So,
let you take it over from here.
Thank you. We have a around like a couple more minutes. So
mhm.
I wanted to tell the attendees that if you have any questions, we're gonna approach our Q&A portion soon. So feel free to send in the chat. If there's anything about Ashley's journey, anything that she brought up about how she runs her business, like feel free to ask her for more insight. For me, one thing that you brought up previously was that your customers were receptive to you switching over to technology. And something that I heard was that people tend to worry how their customers are going to react. Like sometimes there's probably other people out there too, that has similar fears or hesitancies towards technology. So did you have to guide your customers on how to use the MoeGo app or this new software, or did they pick it up pretty easily?
It was pretty easy. I mean, like I said, the reason I picked it was because it was the easiest one. So, I mean, for the most part, I don't think I've ever had any of my clients question me or it, as far as what they need to do on their end. So, I mean, I assume that means it was easier on their end if I haven't heard anything.
Mm.
So,
Honestly,
hopefully, that's a good sign.
yeah. I was really happy when my dog groomer switched over to technology. I was like, oh, I don't have to call. I think that's the biggest thing, like the online
Yeah.
banking part.
Yes, and so they've been like I said, they were super receptive to it. They honestly thought it was just more professional than the handwritten one because they had seen me before I bought my other business. They had seen me a couple years at the same shop prior, and we were always doing the handwriting thing. And so one of the main comments they always said was, "Look at you moving on up." I'm like, "Thanks." So they were really good about it, but I don't think anyone has really complained about it. And I mean, I've had so many less errors with it. Like I said, I mean, I'm human. I messed up with the handwritten ones all the time, or I accidentally wrote down the wrong number, um, just because I was talking on the phone at the same time. So I heard something wrong and I scribbled down something different. This one already has their numbers already input. So, I mean, you can't really mess it up. You just click on the dog you want to add and it puts the client's profile, everything you've done on them, rather than you accidentally putting down a wrong phone number or you put down the wrong Bella of your 30 Bellas. So it definitely made it much easier. And so because of the less amount of errors, my clients were very happy with that. So
Awesome. And then I guess one last question before we move on to Q&A was that were there any features that you used for your business that really surprised you for how helpful they were?
um let me think of so honestly, and I know it sounds super weird and super lame, but just the reminder thing was my favorite.
Mm.
Only because I was having to call people every single day. And what's good about this one is you can adjust it to where it's either the 24 hours or 48 or 72, I believe. I've just always had it at the 24 mark, so I don't know. But if
You
you
get a
have
total of 3 reminders, and so like there's mine goes out a week before, and if they haven't
Okay.
confirmed, it goes out 3 days before, and confirmed or not, they get a 24-hour message that
Okay,
says
perfect.
like, so yeah, but Ashley, you're touching on it. The great thing is your business model doesn't have to match mine, and we can use the same software because the
Right.
software can form to your
Right.
needs.
So what was good about it was just you always know that they got one 24 hours beforehand. I mean, there's been times where I have gotten done super late at night because I overbooked myself and I forgot to make my 24-hour reminder call or something like that. So then it's kind of feeding into that, okay, well, if you didn't get a 24-hour reminder, how would they remember to let you know 24 hours if they have like that weird cancellation, not weird. If you have a cancellation policy, it's kind of hard for them to figure that out as quickly as possible. So I mean, it really helped my clients in a sense, and it helped me 'cause, like I said, I could go home and actually enjoy myself and relax instead of having to sit there and make 100 different phone calls and remember to make them. Or am I giving them the exact amount of time that they need? No, this one will send 24 hours exactly. So you know they had 24 hours to figure out if they were going to be there or not. So super simple feature, but I like it. It helped.
Amazing. Thank you, Ashley. I guess we can move over to the Q&A portion because we have some questions rolling in. So
Mhm.
for the first one, Josephine asked, how did you plan out your price list? Was it hourly versus pet condition?
Mine is pet condition, so I kind of have a base price, and I tell everyone that I have come in that I have a price range based on like their size and weight and stuff like that. So I never ever give an exact price over the phone, and I say when I message them, and that depends on the condition of the coat, their behavior. So if they're super aggressive,
Evan,
well,
fix the lights. Evan, the lights.
I don't know what happened. But while I'll still answer the question while he's doing that. It's a different light, but it's fine. It's a light. So, but yeah, so I just, I give them a range and then I say, there's a bunch of different factors. So when they come in, if they need to be muzzled because they're trying to rip my face off, it's going to be an extra $10. If they're matted, I charge $1 a minute for dematting. So it all just kind of depends, but I don't ever give anyone a set price over the phone because then they're going to hold you to it. So it's better for them to have a price range. So like if you do a small dog for $75 to $95, usually you're going to think my dog might be the more expensive one. So it's nicer if you say, oh, well, your dog was awesome at $75. So, yeah, it's better to just give them a range, but it could be more if.
And I want to add to that something that is very important for the customer's perspective is you should always have the base price of like their good, well-behaved, good
Yeah.
conditioned dog. And then all these additives should be line items added to the invoice so that they understand my dog's a jerk, therefore
Yeah.
it's an extra $10. My dog was matted, therefore it was an extra $40. You
Yeah.
need to make sure you itemize it and you don't just have full service 150 and then
Right.
next time full service 120. You need to make sure that it's reflected on the invoice so that the customer can also understand what they are actually paying for.
Yeah.
That's something that I preach. And Ashley, it sounds like she does it. You put a muzzle on a dog, we call it extra care, but
Hmm.
you name it something, and you put a price next to everything that you are doing.
Yeah. Yep. For my super pelted dogs that you have to, 7 blade strip them or 10 blade, who knows? But those I have like poor coat condition. So if they know you're ruining your blades, you're dulling your blades, so you're gonna have to go and get them sharpened. So because I had to ruin my blades for your dog's terrible coat, you're gonna get a bad coat condition charge. So I mean, it is what it is.
We have
And with
a, oh, sorry, Melinda, you
oh,
can finish your thought.
sorry, yeah, ADD moment here. Ashley, are you one-on-one to where you charge late fees or
Yes, yeah. And so actually, if you are 20 minutes late to your appointment, I cancel your appointment actually, and then I charge you for the appointment.
Say that
I'm
again for everyone to hear. Say it
yes.
again.
So, because I'm one-on-one, and I mean, some solo groomers aren't one-on-one, but I am, and that's why I charge the way I do, because a lot of people like that I don't have multiple dogs in there. And also, it's good for your sanity because you don't have 100 dogs barking in the background. Anyways, if they are 20 minutes late, I cancel their appointment because it runs the rest of mine late for the rest of the day, and I'm not going to stay late because you were irresponsible. I cancel their appointment and then I charge them for that appointment that they missed.
I want to kiss you. Thank you. Thank
I
you.
have the add-on question from Josephine. Did you put that into the add-on section, which I think we were talking about
Yeah.
the matting and then any other, I guess, issues that arise in that appointment?
Let me pull up my MoeGo so you can see. Um,
Don't worry,
so
I'm pulling mine up to see is it an add-on or is it a service?
mine's an add-on. So I have to put a random dog, I think. Hold on, let me go to mine today. Just kidding, I already charged them out. Okay, so when I go to like add new service and add-ons. I don't know if you guys can see. Oh, probably not. So I have like an extra nail filing section, ear plucking. I don't pluck ears unless they specifically ask for it. Just because all the vets around here are so different. So if they want it, I do charge for it. But teeth brushing is in the add-ons, dematting's in the add-ons. The behavioral issues, poor coat conditions. I have that in a handling section on add-ons. I have a late pickup fee in the add-ons. So I have a bunch of stuff in the add-on section. I wish you could see it, but it doesn't want to show.
Want to let everyone know I checked mine too, and ours is all add-ons. So our add-ons has like extra care,
Hmm.
matted. We also have like hand scissoring if it's like a super custom haircut.
I do have
Um,
hand
because
scissoring
well,
fee. Mhm.
we use that for like we had some standard poodles that come in, and every now and then they want a German cut. So we have the base
Okay.
price, and we'll add extra for the German cut because yeah. I can't
Right.
do that. I don't want anybody on this webinar to think Melinda does a German cut. I do not. And I could not, but I have very talented groomers that could, just so everyone knows. I can groom an Afghan and that's about it. Just
I do also have, and this is another thing that I think is super important, a late pickup fee. So when you're one-on-one like me, I cannot be bathing a dog and then someone comes in late. So everything I do is based on pickups and drop-offs, which is why if you're 20 minutes late, your appointment's canceled because I can't have my appointments running into each other for safety reasons and sanity reasons. So you have a late pickup fee as well. So I call or I text the owners when I'm 20 minutes from being done, and I say, from that point that I'm done, you have 20 minutes to pick up or else you get charged for it. I'll tell you what, you will never have people late picking up their dogs again. Ever. And I think I've only had to charge it, I think once or twice ever because people are so scared of it. But I mean, I'm not mean. If you're like 5 minutes late, I really don't care. But you'll see it'll make a huge difference.
so that's one of the things like I, I was talking to Evan, side note. But like the technology allows you to set like boundaries and expectations. And so like for me, having that service agreement and having people sign it and be like,
Hmm.
no, it's right here in writing, and it's
Yep.
saved to your profile. This is our policy.
Yep.
Um, is so important to have because then you're not shuffling through, a bunch of paperwork. You're able to protect yourself, your liability and all that,
Yep.
and it's all in one place.
Yep. Exactly. The fine print, handwriting, not handwriting, but the fine print's always good.
You signed it right here.
Yeah, exactly. That's why texts are great too, just because everything's always in writing. I like to keep a trail.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Also,
Okay.
wrap up this webinar, we have one last question. So Josephine asked, were your prices, maintenance, pets versus quarterly, yearly different?
It honestly kind of depends. So I tried. I tried at one point doing a thing where, okay, well, if you come in once a month for a bath and, or I'm sorry, once every 2 weeks, like a package kind of thing, and charging them a lower fee for both, that's honestly terrible. And I stopped doing that because sometimes they come in and they're completely pelted. Sometimes they come in and they're in great condition, and then you're like, losing money for the day by doing that. So I just think you need to charge them a full price every single time, whether it's once a month, 2 times a month, once a week. If they respect you as a groomer and as a person, they will not try to fight you on discounts. So those are the clients you want. So if they're trying to haggle and get deals and stuff from you, you don't want them. Get rid of them.
I want to touch on that really quickly. You have the base price, and if they come in quarterly, you're charging them extra for the matting. So that's why the line items is really important.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. I think that's all of our questions. So thank you, Ashley and Melinda, for sharing your inputs. So
Always.
this is gonna wrap up our Q&A portion and our webinar. Thank you again, Ashley, for coming on as today's speaker, and also for everyone for tuning in and sending in your questions. If you like to see MoeGo in action or watch any of our future webinars, you can check us out on YouTube and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Ashley, how can people find you or stay up to date with what you're doing?
Um, Again, me being bad with technology. I'm on Facebook. I use Facebook more than anything. It's Ashley Levon Pacini, NCMG. I think MoeGo has me tagged in some of their posts. I am on Instagram. I hardly ever use it. So Facebook's the best way to get a hold of me. If you have any questions, you can do that. And then if you want like my email or something like that, you can message me on Facebook.
Amazing. And we also have Facebook groups too for MoeGo, MoeGo for premium groomers, and MoeGo for boarding and daycare if you guys have any more questions about our software. And lastly, we also have an upcoming webinar in April. It's going to be with Molly and Todd from Molly's Pampered Paws. So we hope to see you guys there too. Thank you, everyone. Thank you again, Ashley and Melinda.
Good
Thank
night,
you.
everyone.